Okay, so the statue stunt. Now, the statue stunt really started with my friend Pat Meehan. And Pat and I and several other guys were having lunch at the old CAF, I think. We were working out on campus in the summer of '63. And we were having lunch, and we walked out, and there was a display of art, of student art, on a, what was it, Pat, a bulletin board?
Yeah, it was about 100 feet long and 4 feet high,
okay,
with a roof over it.
So here's this big display of art from, I guess, an art class. And so Pat and I look at this thing, and we say, you know, we could do better than that. So we went back to the engineering office, we found some paper, and we made a piece of abstract art. And the ever resourceful Pat managed to come up with a first prize ribbon, which we put on it. And we took it out and we pasted it up next to all these other things, except this had a first prize ribbon. And then we sort of sat back and just watched. And then people would come up and they'd say, "Oh, I don't think that's the best one." And "Oh, I like it, I like it." And so Pat remembers much more detail about that than I do, and maybe at the end he'll be good enough to tell us about his recollections. But in any event, then we started thinking, well, maybe we could do this, and this is just the summer, maybe we could do this on a bigger scale. And so Pat said, well, you know, I dare you to do that. And so that was the start of the statue stunt. We figured that we could put together enough statues, fake statues, and put them all over the campus, and then do something terrible to them. And so what we did was we first of all went out and we counted how many statues were already up, because there were maybe 25 statues around the campus, but there were only 10 of them that were sort of in well-traveled places. So we figured we needed 10 statues, and we put together the people who were working on campus and contacted them, or who were working in Vancouver at the time. And we said, hey, we want to build some statues. Here's your chance to show people your creativity. So we started building these things in the basement of the Civil building, which is now the mathematics building?
Computer science.
The computer science building?
We went from that to Clink.
The Clink building? Yeah. That's the sound the statues made when we smashed it.
That's Colonel.
Colonel Clink, yes, that's right. Yeah. So we made these, we started making the statues. We went around, we got all this material to make them. A lot of concrete, some wood, and we got a bunch of steel, and we figured maybe we could get someone to weld that together. And we started building these statues. And I remember Bob Waldron, also known as Gopher, was a big contributor. D.A., Dick Atkinson was there. Kyle Gardner, Rick Whitaker built a particularly beautiful structure. Pat Meehan, of course, Ed Hemis, Pete Hemis, Keith Morrison, I don't remember all of the others who were involved in building these things. But here's a picture, I hope, of us building the statues. This is Art Wild on the left, and then Ed Hemis, Pete Hemis. I think maybe that's Chuck Icona, but I'm not sure, and then me. And then here's me and Gopher putting together this beautiful sculpture here. And then Gopher here is having some sort of relationship with this statue.
That was my favorite.
Yeah. we had to drag him away. It was a good thing that we had all these pictures taken, because we were going to need them later. So the next thing we had to do, and by the way, we also enlisted the help of Colin Smith, who was the only, of all us engineers who were out there that summer, Colin was the only one who knew how to weld. So we went down to the Aggie barns, and we took all this scrap iron that we'd come up with, and Colin went at them with his welding torch, and he put together this abstract piece of steel, and you're going to see that in a minute. But it was a masterwork. I mean, it was really I thought very, very, very clever. So, first of all, we had to go and remove all the old statues. And I don't recognize all the people in this picture. But there were, anybody recognize anybody?
Don Allen on the left.
Who? Don Allen.
Allen on the left. Too early, too early.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, you can see we've got a dolly that we're hauling away the statues. And we hauled them away to the B&G yard, sort of at the back of the campus somewhere. And now I wasn't there, but someone told me that, and maybe some of you here can verify this, that as they were hauling one of these statues away, a B&G guard came up and said, "What are you doing?" And the guys hauling it said, "Oh, we were supposed to have these moved out of here by 5 o'clock and we haven't got it done, and now we're having to do it now, this late at night." And the guard said, "Oh, well, let me help you." So we went over and he unlocked the door to the storage area. Now, as I say, I wasn't there, and you know how sometimes these stories do tend to get a little embellished. But in any event, let's pretend that happened. So after we removed the old ones, then we went out and we had to put up the new ones. And so there's Glenn Campbell and Ron Davis and me, and I think that's Ray Suzak. And we're putting up, we're carrying out Colin's beautiful steel welded structure. Over here we're going past the Buchanan building with one of the statues. And here's Ron Davis and C.V. Chung, who's here, and me. And we're putting, I think this is yours, Kyle. Is this your Henry Moore statue with the hole in the middle?
No, I don't think so. That was much better than that.
Oh, yeah. I roomed with that guy for a year, and I got a pretty good portion of my uncontrollable laughing done during that year. The one in the middle is the welded steel structure that Colin put together. It was actually more substantial looking than that. And then over here we have Ron Davis and C.V. Chung and Art Stevenson putting one of the statues into place. And then finally we got them all placed out in the campus. This one was right in front of the library. It sort of looks like the Elephant Man in a state of...
That one's called unicorn on one I made. It's called Bullfrog with a heart on it.
Okay. Okay, so that's probably why we smashed that one first, Rick. Okay, so then we got them all placed out on the campus. Well, then we figured that we really needed to get a little more visibility to this thing. We were going to smash them, but we didn't want to just go out and smash them. And so I went over to talk to Keith Bradbury, who was the associate editor of the UBC. He'd been editor the year before, and I'd gotten to know him pretty well. And I said, "Hey, do you guys want to get in on a stunt that we're going to pull?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, you notice all those statues out on campus?" And he said, "No, not really." And I said, "Well, they've been there for 2 weeks, and we're going to smash them." And he said, "Well, what kind of a stunt is that?" And I said, "Well, we made them." So Keith said, "Well, let's go talk to Mike Hunter, who was the editor." Mike said, "Great, go to it." So Keith went to work and he wrote a letter to the editor. Oh, this is Collins' welded steel structure, and the caption below says, "Puzzled co-ed looks at new artwork in Buchanan quadrangle." So now this picture appeared in the next edition of the UBC.